Good morning. Nice to be with you, to be with the large Sangha. It's kind of rare for me. I've usually lived with smaller Sanghas, and I like that because I'm the way I am. I was just thinking, like, listening to Ajahn Chunda's voice. I mean, it's down there. It's such a low register. And then listen to some other voices. Some of the voices are a higher register. So how do you get the choir going with these different registers of sound and we all register in different ways, the way we perceive. The reason we've come here is similar, but not necessarily the same. The issues that we're processing from our childhood, from our cultural conditioning, from our gender, from the present state of war or whatever, we all have we have the same script in the terms of Vinaya, in the terms of serving our community and serving each other, but we have a different script inside, obviously. And being able to honor both of those is one of the great challenges of monastic life. And it's a very, very beautiful life if one remembers that a lot of it will not be beautiful, obviously. The emotions that will come up sometimes will be beautiful, like now I feel really beautiful emotions in your midst, but other emotions will come up which will be lonely, which will be fearful, and those are equally important. And I think the way of renunciation is not just about having 1 or 2 meals a day, it's about seeing that in the realm of experience, in the khandhas, in the foreground of our lives, we'll never find fulfillment. It's just not possible. We'll find happiness and unhappiness, but we'll never find. And it's only in the background of silence, awareness, consciousness, whatever way you want to call that we will discover that which is unassailable, which is unshakable. And moving towards that, rather than always being in the foreground, and yet being responsible in our lives in the foreground of monastic life, is I see it as the challenge of love, actually, but not love as liking, but love as awareness which is open to all things at all times. And that's very, very difficult with our own inner experiences of negativity and difficulty, but also in our communication with each other. Because I know as a senior monk, I've met people who I just totally do not understand. Their register, their voice is like so foreign to me that I could just get very, very confused. And then I realized that, okay, how do you deal with that? Well, you deal with that by loving even your own confusion, even your own sense of not understanding, of not being clear. And the more the attention takes refuge in the awareness of change, rather than trying to change things, and yet being responsible, the more one begins to find that which is truly happy in the heart. So I'm pretty happy chappy now these days, but you wouldn't have wanted to know me 40 years ago. I could be pretty miserable. But I had to honor that by not dumping it on others, but also allowing it to be there as it was. And so one of the things that really helped me in monastic life was that Lompa Samero did not demand that I be happy. Because sometimes I could be very, very dark, very, very inwards, and I think the different things I was working through. And he never said, cheer up, Viradhammo, everything's going to be okay. He would cheer me up, but it was never a demand. So in monastic life, we're not asking of each other a certain mood, an inner mood, but we are asking of each other respect, patience, listening, compassion, if we can, and then allowing each individual to go through whatever they're going through. And like I've been at this game for a while, and there's still things that come up that, like resentments from 25 years ago, will just like pop into the mind. It can be quite strong. But if the refuge is in the background of witnessing awareness and a loving of this, then it's okay. Then the purification can take place and can be what it is. So my sense of this community and other communities is that we are really good people. This is very good humanity. So the disparaging mind, the mind which is always critical and judgmental, is not to be believed. It's a very kind of cruel inner, as the Ajahn say, like an inner tyranny of judging all the time. Whereas the background of awareness is not a judgment. When I am aware of a resentment which comes up into my mind from 25 years ago, and it's very, very emotionally strong, awareness does not judge that, does it? It just knows, resentment's like that. It's easier said than done, because it does seem wrong. It does seem, well, you've been at this for 50 years. I mean, what's your problem, Viradhammo, or LPV, whatever you want to call it, yeah. But that's just the way it is, that the stream of consciousness brings forth all kinds of things. If you really understand renunciation, then it's not about the objects, it's not about the emotions, it's about the background, witnessing, knowing. And I for more and more I see that is what love is about. Not love is against sentimentality. So the mantra that I came across 3 years ago just kind of came to my mind, which people find a bit smarmy, but I started to introduce it into my talks. So I used this 3-part mantra: I love you, I have always loved you, I will always love you. Now then, when that came into my mind, I thought, oh no, do I have to say that? But as I started to just say, well, what's that pointing to? And I just started to do that. I love you, I've always loved you, I will always love you. I saw that was the entry into the background, because it was no longer a attempt to understand, analyze, get rid of, do something about the foreground. It was simply remembering, witnessing consciousness, witnessing awareness as something that accepts all things and rejects none. And so I find myself that mantra coming up a lot. There was one woman in... do I have all morning, by the way? It's my third coffee.
There's no time limit.
Okay. There's one woman that comes to the monastery a lot. She's got a lot of abuse issues, and she's got a really strong sense of self-disparagement, and really good practitioner. So I said to her, what you should do? Try this one. I love you. I've always loved you. No, I couldn't do that. Oh, I couldn't do that. I said, why not? It took her 6 months, and about 6 months later, she said, I get it. Okay, because it's not egotistical statement, is it? It's not that. It's getting to the space of awareness which accepts all things and rejects none. So this isn't intellectual. Like I don't see monasticism as a satisfying my intellect. That's not why I kind of signed out myself. Because I see the intellect as being limited. Because it's still a construct, it's still sankhara. Whereas silence and openness is not an intellectual thing. It's not an object. It's our home ground. Now I'm 77 now. My brother's 79, and I'm seeing a lot of my peers falling off the cliff. People experiencing dementia, people experiencing body decline very, very seriously, and it's so obvious. People who have refuge, they're okay. They have a sense of being able to witness the decline of the body. My brothers say, who hasn't got refuge, you can see he's just now more and more trapped into his inner world because there is no refuge. So when we're young, I think I might be the oldest one here, when we have vitality, it's very important to establish refuge, to establish witnessing, to establish awareness of the way things are, and then let come what come, whatever karma we have to face. So, something to reflect upon.